Hi guys, well video number 3, and thank you to everybody who got in contact with me through Twitter or Facebook or even via email and showed their appreciation for the last 2 videos. It's very much appreciated. I'll continue to do videos. The feedback's been great, so I'll add them in alongside the different forms of communication that I use. They alongside with the articles, hopefully we'll be able to cater for each learning style. Some, as we know, like to read, and some like to watch videos. Now, today's topic is cardio. It's a topic which I'm sure you, the viewer, if you're not in the fitness industry, are pretty confused about. But I also know that many in the fitness industry, and I'm sure quite a few personal trainers will be watching this video today, are confused about the subject as well. Now, why is there so much confusion? And I think the confusion comes down to the fact that people are unaware of different energy systems requirements in the body, whether or not we're predominantly using an anaerobic system or the aerobic system. Why would we be doing anything of that nature? Are we trying to improve something from a short distance or a longer aerobic distance? That may confuse you immediately, but ultimately the cardiovascular system, to me, cardio is anything that has an impact in the heart, arteries, veins, blood flow around the body to and from the heart. So to me, is cardio good? Anything that stimulates the heart, improves blood flow and oxygen around the body is fantastic. Does running do that? Yes. Does weight training do that? Yes. Does biking do that? Yes. Does going on a cross trainer do that? Yes. Every form of exercise will train the cardiovascular system. At what point do you use various different means of training the cardiovascular system is what people really should ask. Should you be integrating different forms of cardiovascular training for the result that you're trying to achieve? That's another question that we should ask. But firstly, I'd like to touch on the subject of athletes. Now, those of you who say cardiovascular training is bad, and some of you may sit and talk to athletes and say, for your results training, the cardio is really bad. That's probably because you don't necessarily understand what the cardiovascular system is all about. To me, an athlete, a professional athlete, has to train the cardiovascular system. Now, is that athlete training for short duration sprint, as in the professional athletes I train for ice hockey, rugby, short duration sprints, whether it's short term, 0 to 5 seconds, more, or are they training for endurance for 85, 90 minutes of a game? So aerobic levels are one side of the coin, anaerobic levels, shorter distance, are the other side of the coin. These athletes, alongside strength training, need cardio. Now, a lot of you will be saying to me, but what about the associated muscle loss with doing too much cardio? What about the associated minimum amounts of fat loss when you do lots of cardio? Let me stop you there. The athletes that I train, the goal is to have them in shape all year round. It's not to have them shredded. The goal of my athletes is not to have them with the biggest backs, the biggest chests. They want to be powerful, they want to be very, very strong. But the goal is to not aesthetically change the look of their physique dramatically to the point where that's all I'm training them for. Now, as a byproduct of training them, if their physique changes and they end up looking absolutely fantastic, then brilliant. But as my athletes, if you're watching this, you'll know, I like you in great shape. But I certainly don't base my training around changing the aesthetic shape of your physique as my main goal. My main goal is to improve your speed, performance, strength, muscle bulk, but it certainly isn't to change the aesthetics. Now, when people talk about losing muscle mass and gaining body fat from doing too much cardio, I do every 3 to 4 week body fat testing with my professional ice hockey players. My goal throughout the season is to maintain lean mass. and either maintain body fat or drop a little bit of body fat from some of the guys newer to the team. I can safely say to you that there's no loss in muscle mass under my control, or very little. If it does, I change the nutritional interventions, and we have very, very stable body fat levels, and some even go down during the season. The guys are on the ice over an hour a day. They're in the gym 2 to 3 times a week. They're doing cardio. They're doing lots and lots and lots of cardio. So when we're talking about professional athletes, or if you're if you're an endurance runner, a marathon runner, cardio is what you do. Endurance running, training the cardiovascular system that way, that's important to your sport. So is cardio right for these types of people? 100% yes. Should you as a coach be telling your athletes not to do cardio? It may have its place in the early off season, but then as you're coming into the season, you'd bring more in to train the specific energy systems that you need for that sport. Now, those of you who are not into sport will probably think Mark was kind of losing me there, but I'm coming back now. My point with that was athletes need anaerobic power work, capacity work for their sport. So cardio for athletes, 100% yes. Your goal is fat loss and muscle building. If you're following this page, or if you're following any of the articles on the website, your goal ideally, from all the feedback I get and all the clients that we work with over the years, is to change the way that your body looks. To look in the mirror in your underwear and like what you see, but make sure what you see looks different in terms of shape. So for a guy it might be a wider back, bigger shoulders, bigger chest. For a woman, slimmer arms, leaner arms, a little bit more muscular shoulders, tight glutes, lower body fat on the legs. This is body composition training, physique training, whether it's going to do a photo shoot, whether it's to just look great on the beach in the summer, or whether it's to end up on stage as a competitive physique athlete, bodybuilder. Now, for these people, is cardio good or bad? Is weight training cardio? Heck yes. Are you training the cardiovascular system? Heck yes. So when we are looking at body composition, most of you will think cardio as standing on the cross trainer 60 minutes to an hour. Most of you will think running outdoors. And to me, they have their place. They're not required to change your physique. Now, the problem with most of you guys, when you start to change your physique, when you start to want to improve your physique, the first thing you're lacking is muscle mass. The second thing you're lacking is nutritional knowledge. So if you are not eating enough food and you're not training with weights and all you do is cardio, then yes, I have seen this many, many, many times. Muscle mass will continue to lower and body fat will not continue to drop. So what do I put as a priority over traditional cardio, be it interval training or steady state, as we're going to call it for this video? I put weights and diet first. Weight training and diet comes as number one. So cardio, does it have its place? Yes, but at the right time. So the thing I want you to take away first and foremost is, if you're going to have a low-calorie diet and you're going to, as most of you do, and you're not going to go to do weights and you suddenly want to drop a load of body fat, the first thing that you don't want to do is add in lots of cardio. Or else you're going to be the person looking in the mirror a few weeks later, you may have lost plenty of weight, but you won't have lost body fat specifically. That's the first thing I want you to think about. The second thing I want you to think about is weight training in itself. Weight training in itself, if you're lifting weights properly, is cardiovascular. Now, the problem with many people is they don't lift weights hard enough. The response from weight training should be enough to help people lose body fat, without a shadow of a doubt. But right at the beginning, you might find, whilst you're learning how hard to train with weights, that adding in some form of cardio could be beneficial to you. But if you're going to start off weight training, and you may follow a full body program, you may follow lower body to upper body and alternate between the two, if you're being trained right with good nutrition and solid education on how hard to train in the weights area, you shouldn't need any more than that. Now, why do I not necessarily talk about cardio straight away, on top of the reasons behind muscle mass and nutrition? 99.9% of the people come to see me are stressed. My goal when I train anybody for body composition is to get the least amount of work required to get the biggest bang for my buck. So if that means giving somebody 7 days a week of weight training on not a lot of food, I'm not actually helping my client. I'm not actually helping my client develop any muscle. My client's very stressed, and ultimately I'm not going to help develop a physique. So I might start off with my client and give them a diet plan, give them 3 days of weight training a week, and see how much body fat they start to lose. During that time, I'm working with my client to minimize stress, increase sleep. Lots of people, when they start out training, are very, very toxic. So I'm trying to minimize the amount of work that I'm giving my client. So I still have this cardio that people keep talking about, which again is fine. I have cardio as a tool that I could potentially use further on down the line. But initially, my goal is to use as little amount of exercise combined with clear and concise diet recommendations to get body fat off my client. I've had this battle recently this week already, even with it being Monday today, with one of my athletes who's desperate to start doing cardio, desperate to start doing intervals. It will come in, it will have its place, but I want to maximize the amount of tools that I've got in my toolbox to use further on down the line. So if I can have 4 to 5 weight training sessions a week and teach my athlete or my physique athlete how to really, really, really work hard with weights, I'm going to get a response. 60 minutes in the gym of real hard work is cardiovascular training, especially at fat loss, when the rest time normally is pretty low, and you're training kind of the lactic system, which is fantastic for fat loss, around about 40 to 60 seconds in time per set. You're going to be training the cardiovascular system. Anybody that's trained with us here knows that when you train blooming hard, your heart is beating like a drum. You get to the end of the session, and for some reason, some people think that they've got enough energy to do 30 minutes of interval training. Well, that doesn't happen with us. If you train properly during that time, you should be absolutely shattered. So the first part of fat loss really should be, to me, especially if you're new to fat loss, minimizing the amount of work you have to do for the maximum amount of results. So 3 to 4 times a week weight training, and very, very, very concise fat loss nutrition. Now, if at the beginning you're struggling with effort, you're struggling to work really, really hard, you might not be very strong. Therefore, you find weight training is pretty tough, but it doesn't really challenge you cardiovascularly. That person, I might add in some cardio just to increase the kind of metabolic effect of training. So what I might do with somebody is start off their weight training sessions at 35 minutes and then finish the weight training session with 20 minutes of interval training. And then I look to gradually start to bring the interval training out as they're getting more out of the training sessions from the weights. I might find that I'm going to do 3 weight training sessions and add 1 set interval training session in for my client, and I might simply just start off with 30 seconds of work with 60 seconds of recovery, or 20 seconds of work and 60 seconds of recovery, and build up 8, 9, 10 sets. This way, as the person's getting better, the amount of training that they're doing in terms of weight training and how hard they work, I can bring out the interval training. I can continue to monitor the diet, change the nutrition, monitor body fat. Still, I don't need to bring in any cardio. If you like doing cardio, if you like doing half an hour on the bike, or you like doing intervals, there's nothing actually wrong with that, unless you're actually trying to change your physique. Lots and lots of people try and do cardio and weights and diet all together, and these are the people that physique don't change. You never see them change. I've seen girls who step on stage, guys, similarly, even people that come in the gym with us here. They've come in saying that they've been training for so long and their physique has never changed. Well, then I look at their diet, and then they're not eating a lot of food. They're doing 4 to 5 days of cardio per week, whether it's interval training or steady state cardio, on top of 4 weight training sessions, on top of 12-hour days at work. How they're fitting this in, I don't know. So you have a stressed body, more than likely a toxic body, too much cardio, lots of weight training, which is very, very stressful on the body in itself, not a hell of a great deal of food. It's not the perfect environment for the body to lose body fat. Okay, so again, do I think cardio is good? Does it have its place? Completely. But in this example that I've given you, most people are way too stressed. They don't eat enough. They don't know how to train hard with weights, and not many people do. And they're not in an anabolic, in a muscle building position. So if you want to change your physique to look better, start off strength training, and then bring in at a later date all these other tools, which could be interval training or cardio, which I'm going to talk about in a second, about how you bring them in. So start off with diet, start off with resistance training. Get somebody to teach you how hard to work with resistance training to the point that you really understand that it is cardiovascular training. Most of you might do a set, sit on your phone, do a set, go and talk to a friend. You don't really know what training hard is with weights. And when you train hard with weights, you're going to get a physique, and you will develop a more muscular physique. Women will only put a little bit of muscle on. Guys, you will get a lot bigger if you learn to minimize the cardio and really, really push hard with the weights. Now, we've still got the cardio sat here. The cardio, the interval training, the steady state cardio, it's still in a bag here. Now, that bag is a tool bag. So I could use these tools further on down the line. Now, somebody going from 20% body fat down to 12% body fat, you might not need to really use any cardio. You might not need to try and find an extra way of creating a deficit for fat loss. So you might get to 12% body fat with somebody by simply increasing the amount of sets, bringing in giant sets, tri-sets with the weight training. That's all that you'll need. 1 hour of training a day, manipulating your nutrition, you're there. To get lower body fat, women below 13, guys below 8, you're going to need to start to create some level of deficit in the body. You're going to need to find another way of creating metabolic adaptations. So this is where you might bring in your cardio. This is where you might add in some 10 minutes at the end of your workouts. This is where you just sat on a bike, pedaling very, very slowly. This may be where you would wake up in the morning, have a coffee and some aminos, and you might go and do 10 minutes, working up to 30, 40 minutes steady in the morning. But again, there's a tool. Okay, so cardio is something that everybody can use within their arsenal to get in shape, but it's not the be-all and end-all. It's something that people get very, very confused about. It's something that people use way, way too much of right at the beginning. Now, bring it in halfway through, bring it in quarter of the way through, but bring it in at the right pace so that you're using it as a tool. Nutrition, you start your calories off probably where you're coming in at, and like I've talked in previous videos, you bring your calories up, but then you might start to bring your calories back down again when you're starting to get leaner and leaner and leaner. Nutritional variabilities are a tool. Weight training, reps, sets, tempos, how hard you work, what rest periods you use, another ways of creating more adaptations for fat loss before you've brought in a hell of a lot of cardio. So when we talk about interval training and cardio, when it comes to physiques, when it comes to changing your body shape, don't overdo the one thing that could be a tool for you later on down the line. Some of my clients might do 3-4 weight training sessions a week and absolutely love nothing more than a really hard strongman circuit. Tire flips, sled drags. They may absolutely love putting their headphones on and doing a real hard interval training session. If that's what you enjoy, do it. But don't add it in at the expense, or don't add it in taking away your weight training sessions. Your weight training sessions are golden. Your nutrition is golden. Your cardio, your interval training is an additional tool. Okay, so enjoy your training. Do things that you enjoy, but don't do things that are going to sacrifice your ability to develop and change your physique. And again, use cardio as a tool. Be smart with your training, and don't burn out. You know, too many people add too much in at the beginning and burn out. I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope it's kind of cleared up a little bit of the confusion for you with regards to cardio, when to add it in, what my thoughts are on it, and as always, if you're watching this video on the Facebook page, add a comment below, and on the website, please do the same. Head over and follow us on Twitter at M10Fitness. And thank you guys for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon. Thanks.